What's up everyone, I'm Callum on Toast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing what I believe is probably the best Pokemon in the current Little Cup meta, Vullaby. Unfortunately, this is another Pokemon that's difficult to obtain at this CP, but you can at least catch it from the Adventure Incense, which is how I caught mine. It's actually quite low rated on PvPoke, but its claim to fame is how dominant it is up against both Bronzor and Wynaut, the two juggernauts of this meta, winning even in these 0-2 shield scenarios. I'm running Shadow Venonat in the lead, which is strong against Deino and Cottonee, and Seel as the Say Swap, which I also believe is the best Say Swap in the current meta. Also, I want to say a massive thank you for the support on my previous video with my triple Hondo Shadow team in the Open Ultra League. I asked for a like at the start of the video, and that video has 1.3 thousand likes. And compared to my usual videos, I only get around 300 to 600 likes, so that is a substantial increase in likes, so very appreciative for everyone that did like that video. With that being said, let's get into the question of the day. What do you think is the ugliest Pokemon in Pokemon Go? I think Vullaby certainly is in for a shout for that title, but let me know what other Pokemon you think are incredibly ugly in Pokemon Go. Alright, so going into the first battle, and I have slightly sped these up a little bit faster than usual because some of the matchups are actually quite long and tedious, but into this first battle we lead into Wynaut, which is a great matchup for us when we have shields up against our Venonat. We actually go for a Poison Fang here and then dip into my own Seel, and we've got such a massive health advantage that the opponent is no way able to flip this matchup. They go for an Icy Wind. They should have gone for that first, but it doesn't matter. They probably wouldn't have made it to a second Icy Wind anyway, and we go for an Icy Wind now of our own, and this is just going to make our life a lot easier. Going to get to a second Icy Wind before this Wynaut goes for a charge move. They are happy to farm up a ton of energy, but it does not matter. We're going to let the Mirror Coat go through, come in with our Vullaby, and we can safely tank this. Wynaut only has one charge move. It is double resisted. They let me farm them down, and it's because they've got Bronzor in the back. They're also running Confusion Bronzor, which is so comfortable for our Vullaby here, and you're going to see that we will actually shield here just because we can. It's a payback that would only do a very small amount of damage to us as well. We go for the Foul Play now. The opponent lets it go through, and I will be able to fully farm them down and take that game. So you can see that Vullaby is incredibly strong up against both Wynaut and the Bronzor. Into the next battle, we see Cottonee in the lead. That's a great lead for us. The opponent swaps into a Shadow Stunky. Now, I didn't actually see too many of these, but it is a little bit difficult to play against here. I'm expecting they might have a second Shadow Bite user like a Alolan Grimer or something, so I'm going to go for the Foul Play here, come in with my Vullaby and there we do go down, but I've still got the same alignment here, and I've actually also got a shield advantage, so I will now use my shield here. Even though C-Bomb is double resisted and the opponent is staying in, they allow me to fully farm them down. They've got a Bronzor in the back. We're going to go for the Bug Buzz here, hoping for a debuff. Unfortunately, we don't get it, but it doesn't matter. Seel is also very strong up against Bronzor, and what you should do is, if you're running Seel and you're up against a Confusion Bronzor specifically, just shield up the first move, go for Icy Winds. Even though Icy Wind is resisted, it's going to lower their damage from Confusion. Psyshock will also do a lot less damage, and here our licks are really going to add up, and what we want is basically to stay in this matchup as long as possible so we can get that lick damage through, and we easily take out the Bronzor there and take that game. Into the next battle, we see a Deino in the lead. Unfortunately, after the Poison Fang buff, we don't get to the charge move as they get to the Body Slam there, but it doesn't matter. I shield once, the opponent swaps into their Bronzor, and once again we've aligned it with our Vullaby, and this is going to be a very comfortable game here. You see that payback does more damage than the Psyshock, of course, but still not much damage. I'm actually going to undercharge this so that I can come out with a lot of energy in this matchup. They go for a Psyshock this time around. That does nothing. We are now going to be able to make it to a Foul Play and likely make it to a second Foul Play because we did get a little bit more energy here, and this will probably grab the second shield from the opponent. And now I'm going to come in with my Seel. The opponent swaps out, trying to catch a move. I'm able to Bug Bite, farm down the Deino, make it to a Bug Buzz. Actually, no, we're running Signal Beam here. My mistake. I thought we were running Bug Buzz. Doesn't matter. We take out the Alolan Sandshrew with a resisted move, and we went 5-0 in that first set. Obviously, I haven't shown all of the battles because there's no real reason for me to showcase all 20 battles, but into the next battle here, we have a bad lead for once, and the opponent responds with an Eevee, a Tackle and Body Slam Eevee, and unfortunately we don't get to the Icy Wind here, but what I really want is either to grab some shields from the opponent or just regain switch advantage, and the opponent lets Icy Wind go through. We flip switch, even though we're down a shield, it does not matter because we've now got that alignment. We've got our Vullaby aligned to the Bronzor, and there's nothing they can do. We're not going to throw a charge move yet. They come in with Wooper. I'm going to go for the foul play, and then I will swap into my Venonat. We can safely tank any charge move here, so I'm going to let the first one go through. They go for Mud Bomb. That does a little bit more damage than Body Slam, but they need two to take me out anyway, so it doesn't really matter that much. And here I'm going to go for a charge move just before they make it to a Body Slam. Doesn't really matter. Our Vullaby is so dominant up against this Bronzor, especially when I get off a Poison Fang debuff, and that will allow me to fully feint attack, farm down this Bronzor from this range, and they go for a payback. It's just not enough damage. We get the farm down and we take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see a Barboach in the lead, another Mud Boy. We are going to swap, assume they're going to throw an Aqua Tail straight away, which is exactly what they go for, and it is resisted on our Seel. And they come in with a Bronzor, so we've not got aligned to the Vullaby, but it does not matter. We are actually going to grab a shield here. I will admit these are at slightly lower elo battles than usual because I did lose quite a lot of elo running the triple hundo shadow team, but it doesn't really make too much of a difference here. The opponent goes for a confusion farm down, and I will now make it to an Aqua Tail here, and we grab both shields from the opponent. They come back in with Barboach, and I know that I can just two-shield this Vullaby. Their Bronzor still won't be able to touch us, and I should be able to nuke whatever they have in the back with this Vullaby here. So I'm going to two-shield, fully farm them down. I've still got almost all my health remaining. They come in with a... I've completely forgotten what this thing is called, but Brave Bird takes it out, a Shelmet, that's what it's called. We actually had the foul play loaded. I swap into my Venonat anyway, literally makes no difference. I'm just wasting my own time here, but that was kind of the safer play, just in case I wasn't at the back-to-back moves. But anyways, we feint attack, farm down the Bronzor, and take that game. Into the next battle, another Bronzor in the lead, and you will see a lot of them are running Confusion. That is what is recommended on PV Poke, but I think Tackle is probably better as it will allow you to actually flip matchups against a lot of the dark types in this meta. Not Vullaby though, that's still a very dominant matchup. And once again here, we are going to now commit our shield so we can get off this Icy Wind, and this will get all shields down on the opponent's end, which is what I want here. I either want switch advantage or I want shields down. Now I'm going to come in with my Venonat, swap into my Vullaby. The opponent stays in initially. They now come in with their Ducklet. They don't even commit to the Brave Bird, and this will allow me to overfarm significantly in this matchup. I'm now going to go for a Brave Bird here, and this will be enough damage even with the debuff to take out the Ducklet, and even with that debuff we should still be able to survive a charge move coming from this Bronzor here. So the opponent's going to go for the move. It's a Psyshock. I don't know why they didn't go for the payback there. Maybe they're not running it. I'm not really sure. But I can now swap into my Venonat, reset the debuff. Psyshock takes me out, but I'm now going to be able to reach the feint attack. Oh, sorry, the foul play. And foul play takes out the Bronzor, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see another Bronzor in the lead. Once again, another Confusion Bronzor. The opponent's going to swap into Cottonee, but they are so slow on the swap. I will easily be able to regain switch advantage here because I get off that Icy Wind very early in the matchup. I'm now going to shield here, and I will be able to get off another Icy Wind. It's actually a CMP tie, and that's fine with me. I'm going to go for that Icy Wind. We do land it, and I now will be able to fully lick farm down the Cottonee. They come in with a Ducklet here, so that's a little bit tricky. Ducklet I don't have a strong response to, but we are still very, very good here, as we will be able to align the Vullaby. And the reason that I'm coming in with Venonat, I'm forcing them to go for that Brave Bird. They're actually not running it, and the opponent swaps out. They allow me to get my Vullaby aligned to the Bronzor. They go for a payback. That does absolutely nothing. So now I can safely farm to 100 energy, save my shield, just in case that Ducklet has a Brave Bird loaded, which I don't think it does since it's running Aerial Ace, but I get to 100 energy, Foul Play takes out the Bronzor, I get to the Brave Bird, and this will be taking out the Ducklet, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see another Deino in the lead. Gonna stay in, and once again, unfortunately, I have to use a shield, but the opponent swaps into a Wingull, and that's a very odd choice here. Certainly nowhere near as good as Ducklet, and I think the only reason you'd run Wingull is if you're running both Wingull and Ducklet, so that's something I need to be aware of in the back here. Gonna go for this Aqua Tail, not really sure at the counts for Wingull or what the other charge move could be. I think it's something like Ice Beam, which we would resist, but honestly, when you're not too sure about a matchup, you might as well just take that Pokemon out as soon as you can. The opponent comes in with the Ducklet here. I'm actually going to shield in this scenario, farm up to the Poison Fang, bank it, come in with my Vullaby, and I'm just going to call that they're not going for the Brave Bird, and they do go for a Bubble Beam bait. I'm now going to be able to get to a Brave Bird. We win the CMP tie up against this Ducklet. Brave Bird takes out the Ducklet. The opponent throws their energy, and as long as I'm not in one Dragon Breath farm down range, I will get off this Poison Fang, and Poison Fang is easily enough to take out the Deino, and I'm able to take that game. So we go 5-0 in the second set as well. We lead into a Shelmet this time around. The opponent is going to be able to spam Body Slams very fast, but it doesn't do that much damage, so I will tank the first one. I'm going to go for a Poison Fang here. I think I do sort of adjust my playstyle and then just instantly swap into the Seel. Instead of actually throwing that Poison Fang initially, we bait out another Bronzor. Very strange play here, as I'd have thought they want it aligned to the Venonat, but that's fine with me. I go for that Icy Wind. The opponent is over farming massively, allowing me to get to a second Icy Wind before they throw their charge move, and that is going to put them into a very nice range where I can just farm them down with my Vullaby. Unfortunately, we barely miss out on the Aqua Tail there, but that's fine. This charge move is going to do absolutely nothing. If anything, it gives me more HP. They swap into Eevee. This time they're running Quick Attack, which I think might be a legacy move. I'm not really sure. I know Body Slam is definitely a legacy move. We go for the Poison Fang here. We grab a shield from the opponent, and at this point, we should be able to tank a Body Slam quite comfortably. A second one we will have to shield, but I think I'm going to be able to fully Feint Attack, farm down this Eevee from this range. We shield a second Body Slam, and we have a lot of energy. They come in with the Shelmet. They're 2 infestations away. I've got to be wary of a catch, but the opponent swaps out too soon, allow me to get to a Brave Bird very comfortably, and this Brave Bird will easily take out the Shelmet, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see a Wooper in the lead. Unfortunately, unlike the Barboach, it's not running Aqua Tail, it's running Body Slam, so it's not going to be resisted, but I still like to catch it on my Seel. And once again, we bait out a Bronzor. This time they are actually running Tackle, and honestly, it doesn't really make too much of a difference in this matchup here. We go for the Icy Wind on the CMP tie. They go for a Side Shock, and I will be able to make it to another Icy Wind on the CMP tie, because we do have the same energy generation and the same energy charge moves that we're running as opposed to this Bronzor. They're now going to go for the charge move after over farming a little bit. I'm able to farm them down with the Vullaby. They come in with a Ducklet, and this is going to be a little bit scary here. We go for the Foul Play. We grab a shield from the opponent. I'm going to call that they're not sending the Brave Bird. They go for that Bubble Beam, and the opponent is actually going to go for another Bubble Beam, so I'm just going to let this go through as well. And now I will commit to the Brave Bird. Not sure if they want to use both shields on the Ducklet, and they actually decide that they don't want to. I swap out into Venonat. All I have to do is shield here, but I call another bait. It's a Brave Bird. It takes me out. And unfortunately, this Wooper is going to be able to farm me down with Mud Shot before I make it to back-to-back charge moves. So that is going to be one of my losses here. Very poor loss for me to make that. But I've had a lot of games where I've won from landing a nuke when the opponent still had 2 shields. So that's a bit of a taste of my own medicine. But into the next battle here, we went and caught the Mirror Coat onto my Seel after initially being aligned with my Venonat. We also land the Icy Wind on the CMP tire here with another Mirror Coat, and the fact that they're staying in makes me think that they're quite weak to Seel in the back. So the opponent's actually going to come in with their Bronzor once again. What a surprise, the opponent is running a Bronzor, who'd have guessed, but we are going to be able to make it to an Aqua Tail here just in time before we go down. And at this point, a very comfortable matchup once again for our Vullaby. They're going to go for a payback. We have debuffed their attack by 1 stage. I'm actually going to commit to the full farm down here because there's no reason for me to throw a charge move, and a loaded Vullaby will be able to nuke pretty much everything. The opponent comes in with a Barboach. We're going to go for the foul play bait. We grab a shield. Now we can go for the Brave Bird. How much damage does it do? It one-shots the Barboach, and I win that game with 2 shields remaining. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next battle, we see another Shelmet in the lead, and you will see how I adapt my playstyle up against this Shelmet, as we didn't grab a shield with the Poison Fang last time around, so I thought there's no point in me throwing it straight away. I might as well bank that energy and save it for a better matchup. And speaking of better matchups and where that energy would be more useful, it will certainly be very useful going into Wynaut. As the opponent comes in here up against my Seel, they go for a Mirror Coat. I'm not really looking to flip this switch advantage or anything like that. I just want to save my shields for my 2 Pokemon that I've still got. The opponent's going to throw pretty much straight away here, which is really nice for me. I'm actually going to come back in with my Venonat. I know they're quite away from this next charge move, so they now come in with the Shelmet. I've got more energy, so I'm going to be more threatening with my charge moves here. Unfortunately, I throw on alignment, which is a big mistake, but actually it's not going to matter too much here, as I'm able to get off the charge move, they let it go through, and I can safely shield, fully farm them down, and we're going to see the opponent's got Bronzor in the back, and once again this is going to be an incredibly easy matchup for my Vullaby. I've got to deal with a Bronzor and a Wynaut in the back, so yeah, easy no shield here. They go for a Psyshock bait, and then the opponent just quits the match there. So yeah, Vullaby is just so dominant in that matchup up against Bronzor and the Wynaut. You can see we go 4-1 there, only losing 1 battle so far with this team. Into the next battle, we see another Bronzor in the lead. The opponent swaps with a Dewpider, and they do resist all the charge moves here, but we're going to be able to debuff their attack, and I think they might be running something like Mirror Coat as their only neutral charge move here, and they go for it. We're going to go for the Icy Wind. We debuff their attack once again. The opponent's going for the farm down, but we farm them down, and they don't make it to another charge move either. They come in with Wooper. I'm going to go for the Icy Wind here, and now we've got the alignment. We can swap into our Vullaby, and once again, this is going to be another super comfortable matchup. They're actually running Gyro Ball though, so that makes it a little bit trickier, but not much trickier if I'm going to be honest. We go for the Foul Play. Foul Play grabs a shield from the opponent. They're over farming, or they're just not at the Gyro Ball. I'm not really sure. Doesn't matter. We take them out with the Foul Play. They come back in with the Wooper. I'm actually going to let this charge move go through. We should still live a Body Slam, and we do, and we will barely not make it to the charge move. So I'm going to bank that charge move, swap into my Venonat, and my opponent should have just let themselves go down already. They're just wasting their own time, but I'm able to Bug Bite, farm them down, and take that game. Into the next game, we see another Bronzor in the lead, so we're not actually winning that many leads here, apart from that first set where we won I think 5 out of 5 leads, but this team is still so dominant, at least in this lower elo range where I'm finding myself, and I'm going to go for the Icy Wind. The opponent is staying in. They're probably just tanking the energy on their Bronzor, as they know it is the bulkiest Pokemon on their team, but I will actually get the Bronzor very low, and I will double debuff them, so when I come in with my Vullaby, their energy is just gonna go to waste, and that's what I'm going to do here. The opponent gonna throw a charge move, can let it go through very comfortably. Psyshock does absolutely nothing, and the opponent is going to be coming in with a Wynaut, so they are clearly very weak to the Vullaby here. We go for a Foul Play. They actually just wanted to tank the energy there, which makes a lot of sense. Why not? Also very bulky in this meta. The opponent, once again, not even farming to the Brave Bird, so we let the Bubble Beam go through. Gonna go for a Foul Play here, and we can safely let another Bubble Beam go through, and I will make it to one final Foul Play here up against this Ducklet. They already know what I've got in the lead. It's my Shadow Venonat, so they are hoping that they will be able to take me out here. But another Bubble Beam makes it a very easy decision, but they've lowered my attack. Now my Bug Bites are doing 1 less damage, and Wynaut has so much HP that is actually very significant in this matchup. And also, I couldn't really remember how much energy they had when they swapped out, so I don't commit to the full farm down. I think this is a misplay, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to make it to a Poison Fang, even debuffed. That does a lot of damage. It debuffs them, and I still make it to another Poison Fang to take out the Ducklet, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there, into yet another Bronzor lead. Gonna swap out, they are running Tackle this time. Doesn't make too much of a difference in all honesty. It actually makes it a lot more comfortable for my Venonat, but Tackle still loses the 0-2 shield scenario, or the 2-0 shield scenario coming from the Bronzor's perspective up against the Vullaby, so still not very good for them. They're gonna go for a Side Shock here, and I will make it to the back-to-back Aqua Tails, hoping they do shield at least one of them, but they're going to let the first one go through. We do make it to a second one in time, and the opponent just lets their Bronzor go down. So very interesting play by the opponent so far. They're going to come in with a quick attack Vulpix, but we make it to the Aqua Tail in time. That's huge. They also let it go through for whatever reason. I have no idea why. We're now going to shield here. We don't know what they've got in the back. They've got a Lick Seal of their own, and this is actually really comfortable for me whilst we still have a shield in play, because Lick is resisted. Obviously Icy Wind would do some decent damage here as it's super effective, but it's non-stab. Both these Pokemon are fairly bulky for this league. We're now going to swap, catch the Icy Wind onto our Shadow Venonat, and we will make it to a Poison Fang in time to grab the final shield from the opponent, but the opponent is going to have a hard time farming us down. They try to swap out and catch a charge move, and they still get Bug Bite, farm down, and I take that game. Into the next battle, we see a Deino in the lead, and the opponent is going to choose to stay in here. Once again, we barely get outpaced, which is a bit frustrating considering we did used to very comfortably win all shield scenarios with our Shadow Venonat before the Poison Fang nerf, but it doesn't matter. We win switch advantage. The opponent swaps into not swaps, they came in with Ducklet. We get off a Poison Fang. The opponent full sends the Brave Bird, but then they swap into Bronzor, and this is just going to allow me to comfortably win here. We even make it to an Aqua Tail, doesn't really make much of a difference. We're just going to farm to 100 energy. Actually, I think we're going to fully commit to fully farming them down here. The opponent goes for a Side Shock bait. Once again, they're debuffed and it's double resisted, and we're both very bulky Pokemon. They go for another one. I'm just going to commit to that full farm down here. We get the farm down. We're going to go straight for the Brave Bird, and this Brave Bird does grab the final shield from the opponent. We make it to another Brave Bird in time. It's a CMP type as well, and Brave Bird takes out the Ducklet, and I'm able to take that game. So we're already 4-1 in this final set. Into the final battle, we lead into a Seel. I was expecting them to build up to the Icy Wind first, so was going to make a catch, but unfortunately not able to do so. But I'm now going to go for the Poison Fang here, and this will grab a shield from the opponent. I'm now going to swap and catch the Aqua Tail onto my Seel. Aqua Tail does absolutely nothing, and the opponent's actually staying in here. They're going to be able to get off an Icy Wind and debuff me, but I'm going to come out with so much energy where I will be able to debuff the opponent coming in, or if they send in a Fire type, just send out these Aqua Tails. The first one grabs the shield, the second one will do some nice damage, although they did debuff my attack, so unfortunately not that much damage, but the opponent is forced to throw their energy straight away. I'm going to come in with the Vullaby here, and we're going to be able to fully farm them down, and nothing wants to see a loaded Vullaby in this meta, not even a Swinub. We get to the Brave Bird, but the game just freezes here, and it was my Wi-Fi that just completely pooped out there. I turn it off, we only get like 4 bubbles on the Brave Bird. Unfortunately, that would have easily taken out the Swinub, but they've now made it to back-to-back charge moves, and they will now be able to take out my Venonat, Powder Snow, farm down the Vullaby, and take that game. So we were definitely robbed of that 5-0 in the final set. could have easily been 19-1, and actually we should have really won that game we lost, but a massive misplay by me. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you do happen to have a below 500 CP Vullaby, I highly recommend building it for this cup. It's so dominant. It felt like every matchup where I was able to align it up against a Bronzor was an instant win. That's how strong it is, and because Bronzor and also Wynaut are on pretty much every single team, it's just so good. So yeah, if you did enjoy today's video, if you found it informative, make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And with that being said, let's get into the shoutouts from my previous video. So firstly, we got Kieran Fryer, who says, I have a level 50 best buddy Sharpedo at 24-28 CP, always running triple shadow. Love the vids, bro. And that's a Pokemon that I would love to build for the Ultra League. Unfortunately, I don't have any Carvana or Sharpedo Shadow that are any good IVs, so that was kind of one of the Pokemon I was hoping would return in a grunt lineup. Unfortunately, we only got the Kanto starters, Muck and Marwile, so a bit unfortunate there, but yeah. If it ever does return, that's definitely something I will invest in, because I plan on running the highest attack weighted Ultra League team at some point. Next we got Cruden Mix, who says Hundo Shadow Xatu. That is an incredibly spicy choice, and a Pokemon that I'd actually really like to see in battle in the Ultra League. Next we got Ryan Gridley, who says, been working on a 15-15-14 Shadow Amoonguss, gets all the way up to 24-15. So you guys certainly didn't disappoint with your random Shadow XL Pokemon, because these are absolutely crazy. And finally we got Josie Master, who says rank 1 Shadow Cacturn. Absolute regret. Even if I can one-hit KO a lot of things with payback, it is very situational, and yeah, unfortunately when you make these incredibly spicy, very heavy investments, they're not going to perform as well as a lot of the meta Pokemon, but it can still be quite satisfying when you do get those one-hit KOs. And as for my answer, I'm going to go with any of the 3 Hundo Shadows that I built in my previous video. I think that's a pretty obvious answer. So with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.